One of the main villains of the original Dexter may have already appeared in Dexter Original Sin, and episode 6 just made the theory even more believable. But before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like and comment on the video, and if you're able, please sign up for channel memberships for exclusive content, which really helps us out. Anyway, back to the video. So, the original Dexter featured several memorable killers, from the infamous Trinity Killer to the less beloved Brain Surgeon. Most of them, however, couldn't possibly show up in Dexter Original Sin due to the fact that they met Dexter years after the prequel show's 1991 setting. One of them, however, may have already made his introduction to Original Sin, and he may have already started increasing his kill count. In episode 6, Dexter identified a serial killer who was targeting NHIs, no humans involved, Miami Metro's acronym for murders involving drug addicts, sex workers, and unhoused people. Though Maria LaGuerta and Harry Morgan are investigating the case, they don't have any suspects yet. Luckily, a new fan theory may have already identified the NHI killer, and it may be a familiar face for fans of the original Dexter. Several fans of Original Sin, like Reddit user low_communication513, have suggested that Brian Moser could be the NHI killer in Original Sin episode 6. Moser was revealed to be the ice truck killer in Dexter Season 1, but the theory asserts that he may have gotten his start as a serial killer in Original Sin. The ice truck killer did target mostly exclusively sex workers in Dexter, which would fall under the blanket of NHI in Original Sin. Plus, Dexter feels some kind of connection to the NHI killer and can almost see how he thinks, just as he did with the ice truck killer. There's also a surprising amount of evidence to support the idea that Brian was in Miami during Original Sin. Dexter Season 1 established that Brian was released from a mental hospital when he was 21, and Original Sin's timeline fits with that fact. The unnamed person who asked Dexter if his seat was taken in Original Sin Episode 2 also may have been Brian stalking Dexter. Additionally, an ice truck appeared in Episode 6, which could be a reference to Brian's serial killer alias. It's entirely possible that Brian Moser was in Miami in 1991, and he may have been killing while he was there. Another piece of evidence in the NHI killer case makes it even more likely that Brian Moser could be in Original Sin. While he was trying to convince Maria and Harry that the murders were linked, Dexter explained that the differing methods of murder in each case could have been due to the killer trying to find out how he likes to kill. The method isn't consistent because the killer's still learning what he enjoys. Each kill has been more refined, more intimate. It's evolving, he said. If the NHI killer really was trying to refine his murders and find a style he liked, it would suggest he's a new killer and the victims Miami Metro found are just the first of his kills. That would fit perfectly with Brian Moser's age and when he was released from the mental hospital. Just as Original Sin is showing Dexter learning how to be a serial killer, it may also secretly be showing Brian's evolution as a murderer. This would also explain why all the NHI victims are so different from the ice truck killer's victims. Brian hadn't figured out his kill ritual yet. The biggest problem with the theory that Brian Moser is the NHI killer is that he cannot be caught or killed in Original Sin. Simply put, Brian needs to be around for the events of Dexter Season 1, and he wouldn't be able to stalk Dexter if he was in prison or dead. Even if he somehow escaped prison between Original Sin and Dexter, Brian would be remembered as the NHI killer. He wouldn't be able to visit Deb at Miami Metro if Maria LaGuerta, the woman who investigated him just 15 years prior, could instantly recognize him as an escaped felon. So if Brian Moser turns out to be the NHI killer, Dexter and the detectives at Miami Metro cannot catch him. While Dexter will likely murder Jimmy Powell's killer, there will be a big unsolved case hanging over Miami Metro's heads. None of the other serial killers in Dexter's history have ever lasted more than one season, and if Brian turns out to be in Original Sin, he would be the first major villain to escape Dexter. As exciting as it would be to see the ice truck killer in Dexter Original Sin, it may be more disappointing to see him escape Dexter's justice.